I am a fan of fall foods. All right, let's take a look at what we got. So my game plan yesterday was targeting this previous week point of control down at like 620 to 630. And that played out, and we got a really good bounce from it. Reclaimed VWAP, got it back above yesterday's point of control, or previous day low. Kind of chopping around yesterday's New York session point of control right now. So I'm interested to see how the market opens, but I'm kind of leaning towards longs. A couple of reasons. One is it bounced off this really big area of support, also above VWAP. Also, the news release that came out an hour ago was positive. I don't try to claim that I know how the news is going to affect markets, but I think there's more evidence that we're going to get 2 rate cuts by the end of the year. So I think that's good. And there was a little bit of a pump after that news release. So we'll see how the New York session opens. But if we hold above VWAP and this value area low level at 750-ish, I'll be looking for maybe a pullback to enter long. That's my thoughts. Hopefully we can get past this chop zone from yesterday, though, if longs are the play. I feel like there's going to be quite a bit of resistance here at this 840 to 850 level. It's going to be difficult to get through that. But we'll see. Kind of just going to play the levels today. Brandon, nice. Hopefully you use my code. Yeah, I like Lucid. I'm a big fan. And they just launched their Trade of 8 Ninja Trader, if you're a fan of that platform. That actually starts today. And they have a really good discount going on today too, you guys. For the next 5 or 6 days, I think it goes through October 6th. Your first 2 accounts are 50% off, and then every account after that is 40% off. So, really good deal right now. Yeah, Frayne, you didn't miss much. Yesterday was pretty choppy and ugly. So this light blue line is actually yesterday's New York session anchored VWAP, which is also right at yesterday's point of control. So it's rejecting that so far. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, there's a TradeDay influencer cup is what they're calling it. So I'll be trading on that account today. Like I was telling the people in our Discord, I'm a little bit nervous about it just because I'm still new-ish to trading, and I'm going against all these people that are like really profitable traders. And I think the thing I'm most nervous about is it's a 150K account. I'm used to trading 50K. So I'm going to have to be sizing up a little bit. Anyone you might know? I've seen a couple of their names on Twitter. Uncle Bugatti is one that I've seen around X, I guess. It's not Twitter anymore. But no like well-known famous traders that I know of. Just traders that have been doing a lot longer than me. I just saw your reply, Brandon. Thanks. I appreciate the support, and I'll check my DMs and get you added to that contest. Yeah, if you guys are new, we are doing a Lucid giveaway for anyone who uses my code. You get an entry into a drawing for a 50K test account. And it was supposed to finish at the end of the month, but I extended it one more day just because they just announced a really good sale. So if you use my code, send me a screenshot and I'll enter you into that drawing. Yeah, Efrain, I'm not planning on trading like crazy. I'm definitely going to stick to the same strategy. Just got to size up a little bit. Like I said, I'm used to 50K accounts, but it'll be a 150K account. So there's a $9,000 profit target to pass the eval instead of 3K. I don't think, so it's only a 4K drawdown though versus 2K, which I'm used to. So it's 2 times the drawdown, but 3 times the profit target. So I'm not going to like 3x my size. I think I'm going to 2x my size. So we had news at 7:15 Central. We have more at 9 o'clock Central. So 10 o'clock in about 30 minutes, there's PMI. So there's a chance that the market could be a little bit choppy until that time, but we'll see. It's sitting right above VWAP and value area low right now. Let's see if it holds. Good morning, Shez. I actually like to put a candle on, or an anchored VWAP on the news candle too. We're actually sitting below the news candle anchored VWAP right now. So let's see if we get back above that. Market's open. Let's see what we get. Woo! And we're getting a pullback. Interesting. Let's see if we reclaim VWAP and head up, or if this thing is going lower. Nick, the Lucid discount should be live now. It was supposed to be this morning at 8 o'clock. All right, there she goes. Reclaimed VWAP, back above the anchored VWAP from the news, and she is gone. To the moon. Oh my goodness. That was a nice little fake out. Making people think we were going down. We're sitting up above point of control now and above yesterday's anchored VWAP. Just got back above that London high, previous London high. Let's see if it rejects from here, or, I mean, next area I would say is Asia high. My goodness. Nice move up in the open. Man, that's kind of what I was hoping for, is like a hold on VWAP. But I don't like taking trades so fast in the open, because that could have easily been a fake out to the upside too. That's all right. At least it confirms my long bias. Now we just got to wait for a good entry. I'm good with that. Good with being patient. So if we're coming up to Asia high, that's right about here. 877. Good morning, Alex. Yeah, well, Efrain, good analysis doesn't help if I don't actually take the trade and profit off of it, right? Gotta actually be willing to pull the trigger, put my money where my mouth is. Getting a little pullback at value area high from yesterday. Also the top of my high volume node. But definitely not interested in shorting this thing right now. All right, we're obviously above that news candle VWAP at this point. Let's start drawing our New York session lines. We have a couple areas for possible pullbacks. Previous week value area high at like 850-ish, and then obviously the overnight high at 878. So maybe we can get a pullback at one of those levels and find a spot to enter long. Yeah, for trades like later in the session, I typically like to find a good position and hold it. If I happen to take a trade right at the New York Open, it's usually a scalp. Just because it could easily reverse, you know, the first couple minutes of the Open. It's crazy all over the place a lot of times. And I don't want to be well into profit and then lose it. So if I take an open trade, a trade right at the open, that's what I do. Didn't pull the trigger today though. Kind of showing a little bit of struggle up at these levels. Value area high, previous week's value area high. Decent spot for a pullback. As of now, this is our opening range high. That could change though. We still have 6 minutes. Nick, try the code Ninja50. That might give you the 50% off. Since it's just for the first 2 accounts, it might be a different code. Showing some struggle up at this level, but definitely not, sellers aren't bringing it down. Still holding up here. Wonder if it's gearing up, getting ready to just blast through this. Yeah, I can't confirm what Brandon is saying because I haven't bought any with that new code. But from what I was told, it should apply to all accounts. All right, getting a pullback to New York anchored VWAP. Is that going to be the pullback, or are we going to come back to like 50%, which would be somewhere around the point of control? If we come a little lower, maybe to like 793. Something like this, maybe. Are you gonna come down? Good morning, Sea Laporte. Yeah, Old Crockerel. 17 minutes, I think, right? It's at 10 o'clock Eastern. Oh, no, there's one at 9:45, too. There's two different sets. One at 9:45 and one at 10. Good call. So far, it's holding above that New York anchored VWAP, but I don't like the long from there just because the risk to reward. I'd have to put my stop loss so far down. Could mean a mistrade, but I'm okay with that, especially with news. Two different news things coming up in the next couple minutes. Did anyone catch along on that momentum from the open? I know some of you guys in the chat like to enter those quick trades at the open. Who did it? Alex and a friend did. Well, the first one didn't move the market that much. It apparently came out already, right? 9:45. PMI came out the same as forecasted. So that was a nothing burger. Didn't move things. We got one more coming out in 15 minutes. Let's see if it comes a little lower. It's a decent opening range for the first 15 minutes. Almost 100 points, about 98. What do you mean, Min? You said from what I read. From what you read, what? All right, I'm going for it. 804.25 is my actual entry. Going to see if this comes back up to overnight highs at 878. Still holding above the overnight VWAP. Oh, this is probably going to stop me out. That was a pretty big jump down. Yep. All right. Let's see what happens at this opening range low. This area up here at previous week's value area high is a pretty big area of resistance. So it'll be interesting if this thing turns around and we end up going back down. Let's see. This could be a big turning point. Sitting at the opening range low right now. Let's see if it holds that opening range low and we go back up, or if that was just a big turnaround. Ooh. Interesting. If it doesn't reclaim this level, might be looking for shorts. It did get a bounce off of that previous day low. Interesting spot here. Pretty big close below VWAP. If it's going to get back above and reclaim this level, it's got to happen quick. Come on. Interesting spot here, guys. Still watching. It did reclaim that 15-minute opening range low. Still below VWAP though. Let's see if it gets some volume behind a bounce and actually like strong reclaim of this level. Possibly go back to range high. Yeah, we'll wait and see what news gives. This is definitely territory for a possible opening range low fake breakout to the downside. if it reclaims, but I'd like to see it get back above VWAP too. That was a pretty big drop though. All right, I'm entering a long 760 is where I got in. I can move my screen over here in a second. Possibly hold back up to Asia high, but let's see what happens. We do still have news coming. Probably going to trail my stop pretty tight on this. So there's my entry, 760. Six minutes. Four minutes until news. Gonna take off two if it gets up to the 15-minute opening range high. And then final TP would be up at Asia high. I'll move my stop loss into profit at least at this point since we do have news coming. Starting to break above the New York anchored VWAP. See if it continues. Good morning, Waffles. Now we can have fun in the chat. Waffles is here. Got in a little long off the fake breakout to the downside on the 15-minute opening range, low. But quickly moved my stop loss to break even or slightly into profit because we do have news in 2 minutes. And things could get crazy. Grumpy, your comment made me laugh. I'm out like a fat kid playing dodgeball. Ah, come on. All right. I tried. Came back down to VWAP. Is it going to bounce there? Jeez. Of course it is. There's the news. Jumping around a little bit. Oops. All right, re-entering. Same idea. 2 off at opening range high. Ideally getting up to the Asia high. No, Niggin, I wouldn't label this as a revenge trade. Just had my stop loss get wicked out on the news. I still think the same idea is valid. I hope it's not a chop day, Nick. Yeah, Grumpy. I did get stopped out on the news. It wicked me out a little bit. Come on. Are we going to get any continuation today? Don't be like yesterday. MB Trader, yeah. That's definitely a good way to go, like locking in some profits. Scaling out a little bit. Oh, yeah, Waffles said it. We got 80 people watching, 24 likes. What's up with that, y'all? It does help, honestly. Growing my little channel. It's fun to see new faces come into the chat too. Well, not new faces. You know what I mean. New screen names, I guess, is more accurate. All right, gonna at least move to break even in case this thing gets crazy and decides to dump on me. But so far, at least it looks good to the back to the opening range high. $81.25 is where my second entry ended up being. Way back up here. Imaginary user, you hit it twice already. You know that means it takes it off, right? I hope you're joking. Niggin, you have a bearish bias? Yeah, I don't know. I had a bearish bias last night, and then it came all the way down and retested my level that I was looking at and bounced really strong. So that's why I'm leaning more towards longs at this point. I don't feel like it's going to go to the moon. Like, I'm not thinking it'll be all-time high kind of day. But I could see it at least coming up, back up to the Asia high and maybe down from there. 878. Three times for luck. There we go. But yeah, I could see it possibly being a choppy day too. I hope not. Yesterday wasn't very fun. Yes, G-Trade, it is choppy. Hopefully that was just the news chop, and now that we're done with that, we'll get some continuation. That's what I'm hoping. Don't make it a crappy trading day again. Come on. There's our opening range low. This is our opening range high up here. Let's see if we get back up there. And then I'll draw the New York anchored view up on here too. All right, Efrain, have a great day. Thanks for dropping by. Why do I trade the Qs and not SPY? I don't know. This is NQ is just what I was introduced to when I started following an acquaintance on Facebook, and this is what he traded, and it's kind of what I learned on. It's what I was introduced to futures with. And then from there, I was always told, always heard from like expert traders that you should really master one before like starting to look at different instruments and way too many charts. So I just stuck with NQ. I've been kind of paying attention to gold off and on, but my main chart that I stare at is MNQ. It'll be interesting to see if this thing actually does have the momentum to get back up to those levels. Opening range high, previous week value area high. Because we got up there with the momentum from the open. But that's a big area of resistance. The chop is starting. We do have crude oil inventories in about 20 minutes. That usually doesn't affect NQ that much, but it's definitely something to be aware of. And other than that, we just have Fed speakers off and on all day. Trump signing executive orders later this afternoon. But I should be long done before then. We got lots of fun stuff going on Thursday and Friday for news. Friday, the schedule's pretty heavy. Volatility's coming back. I say that as we're stuck in the chop right now. Come on, baby, let's go. Did anyone get in along with me when it had a fake breakout to the downside? Anyone get in that trade? MB Trader, you got in? Nice. You think Friday news is the reason for the chop? Possibly. Yeah, there's some big stuff Friday. Oh, man. Are you gonna make it up there? All right, almost back up to the top of the 15-minute opening range high. Now the question is, are we dropping from here, or is it going to continue and possibly head up towards Asia high? Grabbed that first order. Let's see what happens from here. I'm watching this. If it starts to reject and sell off pretty strong, I'll close it. This is a good spot for resistance. If it ends up continuing up, I'll take some off at Asia high and possibly leave a runner up to previous day high. Previous day high is what? 913. Realize I have everything turned off. Let me change this. This is the contest account anyway. You guys are gonna all see it at the end of the day anyway. So this is the one that I took that loss on at the open. Let's see if I can get back to break even at least. What do you guys think, chat? Are we going to break outside the top of the opening range? Or is this thing heading back down? It's peeking its head outside the top of the 15-minute opening range. Let's see. So far, breaking out. Let's go. If we get a closure above it and a pullback to the top of the opening range, we could possibly add to our position. But only going to do that on a pullback. Taking another bit of partial profits at Asia high, and then if this thing keeps running, I'm going to hold it. We have previous day high up at 912, and then my high volume node in this area. I could see it coming up to like 940-ish. Five-minute candle closure confirms breaking out to the outside, top side of the range. If we get a retest, I will add. But for now, it's just running. Yes, already got to high a day. The Lucid website. Let me see if it's working for me. Are you talking about Project X or their actual like trading.com? Yeah. It's spinning. It says verify you're a human. And now it's saying waiting for Lucid Trading to respond. Yeah, I wonder if something's going on. All right, grabbed my next order, which was sitting at Asia high. Still no signs of a pullback yet. Let's see if it grabs this Asia high liquidity. Oh, it's working for me now, Waffles. But it says we're in maintenance mode. Our tech team is currently performing site updates and maintenance. We'll be back shortly. That's what it says for me. All right, so if it grabs some of this Asia high liquidity and retests the 15-minute opening range high, could add, because I'm thinking this thing is going, might even go up to 935, 940-ish. I wonder if they're having to do some sort of maintenance with the Trade of 8 Ninja Trader release today. Good morning, Uzuna. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's super choppy today. We're actually getting some decent movement. A little bit of chop in the morning with the news. I was able to read it pretty well, though. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it. Alex, did you go in and activate your pro account? Or did you see that you can? You may know this already, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, or if you already know this. If you go into your dashboard, which you can't look right now, obviously, because it's in maintenance mode, but if you go to the test accounts, you should see a little green button that says upgrade. Oh, there's no button. Yeah, they might be having lots going on with the Trade of 8 release. Awesome, Eddie. I'll take a look at my DMs later today. I appreciate it. "96 viewers. All right, you guys. Like I was saying yesterday, if we get to 100 likes, I do have an account to give away to you guys today. If every single one of you guys goes and hits that like button, we'll make it. That's a good theory, Old Cracker Barrel. I'm not laughing about people losing their jobs, but hey, if you're not going to be working today, if your job got canceled for today, then try out some prop trading. That's why Lucid's website's down. That's kind of what happened with COVID, right? Like everyone decided to do online stuff at home. Where is this bad boy headed? It's not showing any signs of rejecting at the overnight high. Man, I wanted it to come back to the top of that 15-minute opening range high so I could add to my position. I can't do it now because I feel like it would mess up my average. I'd be chasing it. For now, I have my profit target set up here at about 960. Let's see if this thing keeps running. It's looking strong. Jeez. Well, I'm glad I got an entry on this thing, because if I wasn't in it, it would be hard to watch. Just the slow grind up with no pullback. Hardly any red candles on the 5-minute chart. Previous day high is about 913. That's pretty interesting that we pretty much got zero pullback at the Asia high. Like even on the 1 minute chart. Like that was our pullback at today's high. That's crazy. Yeah, we got our initial balance in 1 minute. I wonder if the slow grind up is going to continue after that. With TradeDay hooking up to TradingView, will there be a delay on entries because of lag? No. If you have the, well, I was going to say if you have the live data feed, but you will if you hook up your TradeDay account to it. No, I've traded straight from TradingView to my PropFirm account before, and I didn't have any issues with bad entries or lag or anything like that. All right, initial balance is set, kind of starting to round off a little bit at the top. This right here is the initial balance high. Let's see if it pulls back or if the slow grind up continues. Seems like volume has already slowed pretty significantly from the open. That's no fun. If it is planning on rejecting at initial balance high, it's not happening right now. So this is kind of just a random line. At this point, I'm just trailing my stop loss. now that I'm watching price action a little bit more, a possible failed auction opportunity. Just kind of playing out scenarios here. We have previous day high right above at 913. And that's typically a decent spot for a pullback. It could obviously continue higher as the day goes on, because this is looking like a slow grind up kind of day. But possible failed auction is if it breaks out of initial balance high, grabs yesterday's liquidity and rejects. You could possibly take a little scalp short. I'd like to see what happens up at previous day high first, though. Because I'm not really looking for shorts. I think I'd rather just find an entry to add to my long. Breaking out of initial balance right now. Gosh, you guys, not a single red candle on the 5-minute chart. Crazy. This is craziness. Gold is moving higher too. What in the world? Government shutdowns are bullish, I guess. You guys, this is why you shouldn't try to trade based on news and try to understand what price is going to do based on news. Because you would think common sense, I mean, I'm not good with all the politics, right? But common sense would say that a government shutdown would be a bad thing. But I didn't pay attention to that. I was just looking at levels. It bounced off a key level, reclaimed VWAP. I wanted to take a long. All right, previous day high. Getting a pullback. No, G-Man, I can't figure it out. I was on support with the prop firm. They had no idea. They tried all the things I tried. So at this point, I just sent a support ticket to Project X. Yeah, you guys, if you notice, my price scale is gone. It disappeared. And I didn't change any settings. I didn't do anything. I just logged in and it was gone. And I've tried going to reset layout. I did that. I logged out. I logged back in. I right-clicked and went to settings here, and I went to apply defaults. Like, I made sure that my numbers aren't black and I just can't see them because my chart is black. Like, seriously, I've tried everything. It just disappeared. So if anyone is good with that kind of stuff and knows what I need to do to get it back, let me know. That's why I keep flipping back and forth between my charts to see like, oh, okay, we're at previous day high. Because I can't see what price we're at here. I have to look over here at the bid. Getting a little pullback at previous day high. Oh, Waffles, are you watching the time in sales to see the short squeeze? That's funny. Right click on a candle. Oh my gosh. Ah, you saved me. No, not the DOM, the price. Seriously, I spent like an hour and a half last night Googling it. Thank you, Waffles. I don't know how I did that. I must have obviously right clicked and didn't realize I did that, but I was like, it just disappeared. All right, it's breaking back down below the initial balance. Rejected previous day high. Waffles saves the day. Okay. Considering, well, I'm watching this to see if an initial balance failed auction is going to happen. That's kind of the scenario I was drawing up earlier, is a rejection from previous day high. If it closes back below initial balance high, we can possibly take a short. Let's see. This thing has been kind of on a slow grind up, so there is decent room for a pullback. We could probably come back to like 830-ish. But also don't want to get stuck in a short if the slow grind up is going to continue. So going to be patient here. So far, that's not a heavy rejection, in my opinion. Still chopping around initial balance high. Going to trail a little bit tighter. The question is this a good spot to be adding? Because it's a retest of initial balance high and continuation up? Or is this going to be a failed auction? We do have a little fair value gap up here too on the 30-minute. I'm not a huge fair value gap trader, but just something to watch for. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting spot. If this does start to sell off a little bit more, I could see us coming back down towards 830-ish. I'm gonna go for it. $881.2 was my entry. See if it comes back down to VWAP. Come on, stay below that initial balance. Go down. Oh, nice, Shez. You probably got a great entry too. Did you take it like right at previous day high or somewhere around there? Yeah, Grumpy, I could see where that would be useful, just staying on TradingView and not flipping back and forth. I guess I've gotten used to it. It doesn't bother me. So if this thing goes down, potential target I have is anchored VWAP. We also have the 15-minute opening range low or high. That's a possible target. Somewhere in this like 830 to 840 area. We could also look at the midpoint for the initial balance, which is at 809. Another possible target. Where's our point of control for this session? Ooh, point of control is at 814. Lots of options. But it needs to go down if any of this is going to work out. Come on. Turn off some of this stuff. What happened to gold, G-Man? It dropped and then it bounced. Craziness is happening to gold. That's what's going on. All right, Shez, have a good one. It's coming back outside the initial balance. I don't like that. It's going to stop me out now. Go down. Goodness. It was a slow grind up. Now is it going to be a slow grind down? Disrespectful price action. The fact that it keeps getting back above the initial balance high is not looking good for my short. Yeah, it looks like ES came down and retested that 15-minute opening range high and possible continuation up. Yep, I don't know. Like I said, not looking great for my short. We'll see though. We'll see how this next 5-minute candle closes. Because that would be the close of this 30-minute candle too. And technical like definition of a failed auction would be a 30-minute candle closure below the opening range. So 3 minutes left. Who knows the stop loss amount on each level? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh my gosh. I thought for sure I was done for. Yeah, Waffles, I don't know if this has enough momentum to go much higher. Even with the slow grind, feels like the slow grind might be coming to an end. I don't know if it's going to pull back either, though. It's just going to chop around and make people wonder. Blow some accounts in the meantime. Trading will definitely test your heart rate. Yeah. It's probably going to grab my stop loss and then continue down. I'm guessing that's what it's going to do. Ay, ay, ay. I think it's going to continue higher. That 30-minute candle closed outside of the range. All right, there it is. Let's see if it comes back up to this previous day high and gets a stronger sell-off. Maybe consider shorting. But I'm definitely not longing from here. If it comes back down to VWAP or somewhere in this general area, might consider a long. Chopping around for now. All right, there's that previous day high level again. Top of that fair value gap, if it comes up there maybe and closes back below previous day high, I don't know, that might be a possibility. Don't want to be forcing anything though. Kind of just watching to see if we get a strong sell-off and it rejects this level, closes back below again. Going to try it one more time. Confirmation would be if it closes back below IB low or IB high. I keep saying that. Let's see if sellers actually show up. Initial balance high sitting at 893. Come on, let's get a strong closure below there. This is initial balance high right here at this white line. Point of control has moved up to where we're at right now. That's not a great sign. And it's bouncing off of IB high. Starting to continue up. The fact that point of control is sitting right at initial balance high, that's, I mean, a safer trade probably would have been a break below it. Like a break and retest. Probably could have been more patient. I just saw your comment, Waffles. Did you end up getting in a short? Price is not sure what it wants to do. It's continuing to hold at this initial balance high, but it's not, there's no continuation either direction, honestly. Not much volume. My goodness. There's like no volume. You can see that down at the bottom of my chart. That just dropped off a cliff. All right, starting to drop a little bit. This white line that I have here, that's initial balance high. So closing below that, I feel like would be a good sign that we're going to get a little more downside. I'm not saying it's going to drop like crazy. Insane Football, good morning. So if we do get a confirmation of a drop below initial balance, if it like gets heavy and then maybe a retest and continuation, possible spot to add. If it comes back up and retests there, I'll add a little bit. There you go. Good entry, Waffles. All right, it added a little bit. Now I just got to keep it going down. Still trying to hold that initial balance high, which is now where our point of control is. Come on. Let's get a closure below. I don't like these wicks and buy-ups. Rapey Trade, as far as targets, I'm probably going to scale out a little bit and potentially, depending on how price plays out, potentially hold a runner down to VWAP. But 15-minute opening range high at like 841 is also right where the New York anchored VWAP is at 836. So that's going to be my first profit target. It's also sitting right at like a high volume node. Am I getting choppy again? I changed my settings and I was doing like wireless internet. I actually connected a cable. I figured that would help. I'll have to keep troubleshooting that. Going to move my stop loss to break even. Just because it's still chopping around this point of control level. And if it bounces here, I don't want to be in this continuation slow grind up. Upload speed. I did a test right before the stream, but I'll do one right now. You guys are all going to see this. I didn't realize I was doing it on stream. That's all right. There's my download. Upload is like 12. So not fantastic, but not terrible. 13. Not terrible. Is that super speed? It's actually not as fast as it normally is. I'm usually in like the hundreds for download and then usually like 15 or 16 on upload. I don't know why it's choppy. So far, it's looking like this 5-minute candle is going to close below the initial balance high. That's a good sign. I actually used to have Frontier. I live in a neighborhood that's kind of like outside the city. So Frontier didn't have, oh gosh, my husband's the one who deals with all this. I don't know. They didn't have the like higher speed one. So we actually went with Starlink. So that's what we have now. The fiber, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So Frontier did not have fiber and it kept going out. So then we switched to Starlink, and then of course, as soon as we switch, Frontier's like, come back, we want your business, we have fiber now. We're like, nope, we're done. Oh, there you are, you're listening. Yeah, I did lower the camera quality or whatever, the video settings. I don't know. I typed it into Chat GPT. I was like, this is my upload speed. What should I put my settings at? And I did what it told me to do. All right, stop loss going at the top of that 5-minute candle. The choppiness continues. What does the 15-minute look like? Oh my goodness, look at that giant. If we get past 874, you can see it. So this is why I'm not a big fair value gap trader, you guys, because the volume profile actually tells the same story. You can tell on the volume profile, which is hard to tell because there's not a whole lot of time on it and the 15-minute chart is zoomed out. But look, like high volume node and then nothing. So usually if price gets into a low volume node, it moves quickly. So if it breaks below this level at like 875-ish, it could come all the way down to my take profit. So that for me is why I don't pay attention to fair value gaps much, because again, it tells the same story. The bottom of that fair value gap would be like 834, which is also where the high volume node is. Interesting. It's kind of fun when, I think that's why different strategies can work, because a lot of times it tells the same story or a similar story, just different confluences. So it's fun to see when it all overlaps like that. We still have lots of time on this 15-minute candle though. We have like 7 minutes left. Come on. Are we gonna go lower? Don't bounce from here. What are you doing? Waffles, what are you targeting? Or did you get out already? Yeah, MB Trader. That's possible. The choppiness is continuing. I was just wondering if you were still in your short and if you got out or what your target was. This is ugly. There you go. I think what I'm going to do, you guys, is just leave this order running. I don't want to sit through this chop. This is annoying. "30-minute chart. We still have 4 minutes left on this 30-minute candle, and for now, it's looking like it might close above the range. We got to sell off a little bit more for it to be an official failed auction. Close below the initial balance low high. But yeah, this is going to be my last trade for the morning anyway, and it looks like it's going to take hours to actually play out. So I'm just going to let it run and probably sign off for now. Go get some stuff done. So stop loss is in profit. Got my first TP down at initial balance high. Sorry. Keep labeling my lines wrong. This is the 15-minute opening range high. And then from there, gonna come down to the middle of this high volume node if it hits. That's the plan. Before I sign off, you guys, just a reminder, today's the last day for that Lucid giveaway. They do have a sale going on right now where it's 50% off your first 2 accounts, and then after that, it's 40% off every other account. So use my code, send me a screenshot, and I'll enter you into a drawing for a giveaway. That ends tonight, so I'll be doing the drawing tomorrow. And then come join us in Discord. The link's in the description if you're not there already. And I'll be trading live again tomorrow. All right, you guys, have a great day. See you in Discord.